context of a very low interest rate environment that may be sustained for some time. And the challenge that insurance companies are facing in that environment with respect to managing their capital as well as managing their risk and uncertainty when they have future liabilities and potentially the need for liquidity. And maybe you could transcend that down to the individual as well, who is dealing with a low interest rate environment, trying to manage uncertainty and yet still get some cash return from investment. Just one final tag on, if you could, at the end, could you explain what Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke believes he has as a tool in his toolbox called the Term Credit Facility?
No, the answer is I can't. Can you, Charlie?
No.
The problem faced by people who have stayed in cash or cash equivalents or short-term treasuries or whatever, I mean, it is brutal. The loss, if they live off their income, the loss of purchasing power, it's just staggering when you get into these low interest rates. They are huge victims of a low interest policy and a dramatically low interest policy. Basically, I've written, I wrote back in 2008 to own equities. I mean, equities were cheap, and you were almost certain to get killed. In terms of, for at least a while, we had promised that the Fed was going to hold rates very low. So it was a great time to own equities, and I feel sorry for people that have clung to fixed dollar investments, particularly short-term ones, during a period like this. And I don't know what I would do if I were in that position. Imagine having some sum that seemed like a very large amount of money in the past, but 0.25% on $1 million is $2,500 a year, and that is not what people anticipated when they were saving over the years. Well, anybody I've advised, I've always felt that owning businesses certainly made more sense than fixed dollars under most circumstances. Not every time in my life, but probably 90% of the time in my life, it's made more sense than owning fixed dollar investments. And it certainly made dramatic sense in a few years ago when equities were marked down to where they were terrific buys, and where you could see the prospect that fixed dollar investments were going to pay very little for a considerable period of time. And I didn't anticipate that we would see the kind of rates for the extended period that we have already, and I don't know how long it will go on, but it's a real dilemma for people. I get a lot of letters from people that say, I've got $300,000 and I've saved, what should I do? So it's the fallout from low interest rates has hit millions of people in a very harsh way, and you don't read much about it, and they don't have much of a voice. But it's been a good argument for owning productive assets rather than dollars during a period like this. Charlie?
Well, they had to hurt somebody, and the savers were convenient.
What would you do about it?
I would have done about what they did.
Yeah, so would I.
I would have felt bad about it, but that's what I would have done.